we've got more and more revenue streams now that are off dono, and if those stay consistent, the dono number will drop down. And the whole point of radio was, well, that'll finish off the dono aspect of the show. And you quote that number, and watching radio people go, oh my God, that kind of money doesn't exist here anymore, if it ever did. And I'm sitting there going, what do you mean? I made way more than that. When Steel Toe was at its peak, we made way more. And they're like, yeah, but nobody else was. Nobody else was. And it's gotten even worse since then. Like, COVID decapitated the business. Like, I used to think, because radio people will always cry poverty, and you never know when they're serious. And they cried poverty after COVID, and like when I would talk to them, they'd go, oh yeah, COVID just murdered us. COVID was just brutal. And I was like, yeah. You guys are always broke. Poverty is the song sung by wealthy men. And you look at what's going on at iHeart, and as I continue to talk to different radio companies, I'm starting to think, holy shit, you guys aren't kidding. I remember JD Green and I were working on a deal. God, whenever he left for Vegas, like 6 months ago or so. Whenever JD Green left for Las Vegas, we were working on a deal, and he went, honestly, yeah. I remember we were golfing once, and we were in the same cart, and he goes, we should be flipping around this conversation. You should be telling us how to get into what you're doing, because what we're doing that's a wrap. And I'm like, uh-oh, that ain't good. Because he was telling me, he was like, you don't want to be doing what I'm doing. And I'm like, I'm not so sure you guys want to be doing what I'm doing. And I'm one of the lucky ones. Like, I'm one of the ones who can make a go of this. And it's like, it's rough out there for a pimp. And they're like, well, it eats ass. Because you got to remember, like, there's never been a ton of money in that business. And apparently they've just been ground down. So there were all these layoffs at iHeartMedia. And and I was looking at them yesterday, and they're fucking brutal. One thing I did not know about the business, now I knew this was going on to an extent. I didn't know how widespread it was in major markets. I thought if you were a major market personality, that you just did that thing. And I usually have the radio business clocked. Like, if there's one thing I know the radio business. But I've also been skeptical of what bosses tell you. So when bosses say, like, we've been slaughtered, we've been murdered, it's a wrap, this thing sucks. I was like, you're just saying that. You're just being full of shit. It's a negotiating thing. And then I saw this iHeart deal, and I went, holy f***. Not only is it murdered right now, but apparently it was way worse than I thought before all this shit started going down. So iHeart is kind of the bellwether of the radio industry. What happens at iHeart is about to trickle down and hit everybody else. I did not know that if you were a morning radio person in a large market, or even a medium to large market, that you were working like 2 or 3 other markets. I thought that's something iHeart was doing in syndication on like their lower to medium markets. But I was looking at all these people that got fired yesterday, and this was really terrible, because it's like the people who are getting fired are the people they were purposely keeping around after the last round of firings and giving them 2 or 3 other markets. Like, these guys are apparently on now all day long. They do a morning show in one market, they do an afternoon shift in another market, and they do a weekend or evening shift in another market. Like, these guys, and none of the shows are any good. That's why radio sucks now, is because none of these guys can focus themselves on a morning show, because they have to voice track the morning show, which is pre-recorded, and there's no actual content in it. It's just segging songs, because they have to hurry up and then start voice tracking, after their Birmingham morning show's done. They have to go voice track their Louisville, Kentucky afternoon shift, and then they have to do a San Diego evening show before they voice track their Salem weekend shift. Brutal out there, man. I feel like I'm going to text a couple of radio people today, and I'm going to go, I apologize for poo-pooing you saying that the industry was in dire straits, because it's f***ing dead. It's bleeding out on the ground. It's brutal. And, it does. I did suck my own dick over it a little bit, because I'm like, you take any of these radio people that got canned yesterday, they can't do their own podcast and make a living. They can't do their own podcast and make the money they were doing on radio. this show, when I say this show is better than all the rest, and I say that this show did something unique and special that very few have been able to do, we're the only one of our market size who's ever been able to do it. It speaks to how loyal and amazing our fans are and our ability to grow outside of radio. But all of these people are done. All of these people are going to have to go into the sales industry, which they'll be good at. They'll be fine. But like broadcasting is over for them. They can't do a podcast and make any money. Take a look at all the jobs these guys had to do in the business. And again, they were doing all of these jobs to save the company money, and now they're shit canned. I cannot stress how much of a bad omen that is. Remember I told you earlier this week, I'm like, guys, I think radio's in more trouble than anything we're doing is. I said, I think honestly, the way Rumble's going, Rumble's been very good to us. We've been making insane money since we came here universally. We probably should have done it before the demonetization. Certainly a lot of fans told us we should. It was a good move. But I was like, as we kind of central things into Rumble, the price of us going on the radio goes up. And judging by these cuts, the money ain't there. This Clint Gerlich guy, he was the vice president of programming. Now, when I was in radio, and we're only talking less than 6 years ago, if you were the VP of programming, you had a 6-figure job, you held a clipboard, you talked to talent, you just made sure everything was good. Well, this guy, Clint Gerlich, the VP of programming in Springfield, Missouri, also had to do a midday shift on KSWF. He was doing radio too. The office suits were pulling shifts, which means two things. One, ain't a lot of money. And two, the midday shifts were terrible because office people are in the office because they were terrible radio people, but they were fun to drink with. This literally, to me, this looks like if they don't open the door to AI to fill all this, what the are they going to do? If I want, look, first of all, if I wanted that number one spot back, I could take it tomorrow. But I mean, at this point in this business, I'd have to do it for free. Do I want to do it for free? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, the direction we're going here, it's 1 to 2 goal drops by the end of the year. By the middle of next year, probably 2 goal drops a year for the next year or two. Well, definitely 2 years. So, like, steel toe stock is up slightly. Let's say up slightly. And radio is crashing and burning. And look, old me would be sitting here playing music and celebrating and rah-rah and all this shit. I don't feel good. Like, this is where I got my start. I fell in love with that business. I wanted to do it. And I ascended in that business rapidly. I was number one in St. Cloud in my 20s. We were in this area, the comedy shows we did every weekend, the towns we went to. I mean, we were, and to an extent are still rock stars here. We're still we're probably one of the two. All right, I'll toot my own horn. We're still the most popular show in this town. We're still number one in this town. We go places, whether it's Oz at his live events or me grocery shopping. We still run into fans all over the place. I had an appointment yesterday. 2 fans come up to me. Hey, love the show. I had another guy come up to me. Hey, you did Steel Toe, right? Where are you guys now? Hey, we're on Rumble. The guy's downloading the app on the way to his car, getting ready to check back in with Steel Toe. So, yeah, I'm not happy about all this radio shit happening. I feel terrible for these people. But at the same time, this business totally did it to themselves. They didn't listen to me. I told them, I go, you got to have shows like ours. You got to have content. You got to not listen to people who complain. If people have a problem with the way your show does business or what they talk about, or if we hurt some Wadey's Fifi's when she tried to come at us in Iowa and then we decapitated her and she got mad, you got to let that shit go. It's all FCC okay. It's all above board. If it's above board with the FCC, you got to let it be okay because that's where entertainment comes from. Radio was dying when we were kicking ass. It can be done on earth as it is in heaven. Radio dying and rotting from the inside did not affect our show at all. We brought people back from podcasting in this area because we did good content and a great show. Radio can still do that, but they're going to count their pennies and miss the dimes. The people they all fired, I'm going to show you. The people they all fired are replaceable. You'll forget they were gone in a week. Nobody's going to miss them or give a shit because they were cheap options that plugged 4 holes in 3 different states and were cheap. And when you do it cheap, these are the results you get. DP Granny says, Aaron radio to death. People like me did. People like me did radio to death. All of us who did controversial content, and they said, oh, we have to get rid of the controversial content. This is kind of a product of the cancel culture era. You let go of all the controversial people because you were worried it would lead to advertiser boycotts. Well, guess what? The advertisers left anyway, and they left for more interesting content. It's over. Hulkamasha Baby says, you didn't make shit salary anyways. That's true. Gary didn't pay anybody. You'll take it so you can do local ad reads and make bank again. Maybe, and I could do that. And it would be remarkably easy. But again, look at the business. Do I want to go through that shit again? You think trying to hit a goal every day is difficult? We have fun with it. It's a fun part of the show. I would rather hit a goal than deal with the, the bureaucracy of the radio business. Mountain Jew says, Aaron's going to save radio single-handedly. I can't save radio. You can't save something from itself. But what I can do is I can pick the bones of a dying industry and get a little meat for myself. I can basically cannibalize the business. There will still be money in it for me. I'm really good. And I have an audience that's really good. But in terms of actually bringing the industry back, it's too late. Yeah, Bucklebrush Jones says karma is a bitch. Yeah, I wonder how many of these radio people, when the steel toe thing happened, were like, hey, that's what you get. Because everybody in the country was talking about our shit. We were all over all the radio trade websites, and all the radio shows were talking about, oh, look at this guy. And I made a lot of enemies in Minnesota, Minneapolis, and St. Cloud, and they were all doing a rain dance. And when our shit happened, well, guess what? I'm still on. They're not. And that does feel good in a way. Main Vein with $1 says, your humility is very impressive, Aaron. Thank you. Thank you very much. Every time someone says something like that, they say, when they say Aaron, they sarcastically say, Aaron, you're so humble. When it comes to radio, I'll say this. I'm not nearly as conceited as I should be.